What's good, y'all? My name is Rorvis Paradox, aka Docs Brando, and I'd like to welcome you all to another episode of Rorvis Reviews. This episode, because I've already done my mid-year favorite albums list, I gotta do my mid-year favorite movies list, and I no better time than right now. 2024 has been really good to me. So I'm going ahead and do this video and lock in for y'all. Make sure y'all are following my IG at DocsBrando25 to stay up to date. Make sure you helping people subscribe to the channel. Still trying to hit our goal of 500 subscribers. Furthermore ado, let's get into it. Now, the first film I'll talk about is Dune Part 2, directed by Denis Villeneuve. This film is still right now at the top of my list, my favorite movie of the year. This movie is absolutely phenomenal. It's magnificent. It's all the great adjectives you can put onto this film. It is that, uh, like I said in my video that I did for this earlier this year, the world building is still phenomenal. The foundation that part one extended upon is so greatly appreciated. The lore of the firmament, the home of the Harkonnen, everything is so phenomenal with this film. The cast is just shining so bright this time around. Timothy Chalamet as Paul Atreides, my goat, my Lisa Agaib, oh my god, greatness. Austin Butler for the time he's on camera as Fade Walther, greatness. Rebecca Ferguson is literally insane as Lady Jessica, Zendaya as Shani, Javier Bardem as Stilgar. I can keep going on with how great the cast is. Reminding y'all that Hans Zimmer is my favorite composer right now, and what he did for Paul's Dream is the greatest theme that I've ever heard. It's my favorite sound, and anytime I hear it, I literally start floating in the air like I'm SpongeBob. Like, this shit is impeccable. Like, chef's kiss. Cinematography superb. The fight choreography excellent. The action sequences, the shahaladu. Like, this is right now. Things are getting close to this, but this is still 5-star. My favorite film of the year, bar none. The next one I'm going to talk about is Alien Romulus, directed by Fede Alvarez. Oh my god, what an excellent movie to see in theaters. This right here had me on my edge of my seat. This film was so great at creating tension and anxiety that the first two Alien films did for me. Like, every piece, every time I'm just watching our characters go through the situation that they're going through, it's just, I couldn't imagine myself in those situations if it wasn't for these films. Like, it's a terrifying situation to be in when dealing with xenomorphs. Like, literally one of the most ultimate killing machines and one of the worst things you have to deal with in fiction. The great use of practical and special effects in this film. Previous aliens are the greatest when it comes to practical effects, and the little issues that I have with later installments of Alien franchise, the issue is with the more use of special and visual effects instead of bringing in what really made these movies great and was the practical. But there's a good blend of these two that I highly appreciate. The set design is magnificent. It definitely takes us back to the first Alien movie, but I think it expands upon even greater in some aspects, just with the look of the Romulus and Remus ship station. The use of silence in this film is just the way it opens. It's just, I was already feeling some type of way, and in theater was so different because you can literally hear like the person from across the whole theater chewing their popcorn. Like, you can hear a pin drop, and once it got active, it got even quieter, and then there's more scenes that have the use of silence that are just perfection. The score as well is great. There's some great use of older themes coming back for this film, but this still is something that can stand alone on its own. Now I have to talk about the great cast with Kaylee Spaney as Rain, David Johnson as Andy, Archie Rennox as Tyler, Isabella Mercer as Kay, Spike Fern as Bjorn, and Alan Wu as Navarro. These young actors all showed out, and it's interesting for this film because it's the first time that we have a young cast. Like, these are very young adults, and usually when we get into this film, the characters are usually in their 30s or 40s, and it's already horrendous. Imagine those older adults, go through the situations that they are in this franchise, but when you add the young adults to it, and it's truly feel like they're just walking into a setup, and it's just horrific, and I feel bad for them, and it's insane to watch. Great cinematography, great cuts, great edits. Um, yeah, this was again such an excellent watch. 5 stars, and I'll probably have to do a separate video on it to really further upon my thoughts on the film. Now, the next film I'm talking about is Deadpool and Wolverine. I already told y'all a lot of what I love about this film and this character in my previous Deadpool video. Go check that video out if you haven't already. But at the end of the day, this is an excellent movie to watch. It's highly entertaining. Great action sequence, great choreography, great, the costume designs for these heroes. We already know how great his costume look, but to really bring the yellow and blue Wolverine outfit to live action brought true tears in my eyes. The cameos that we've seen in this film were so great, and I appreciated every single one of them. Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. What more can we say? Regardless if he's not the comic accurate height for Wolverine, for the last 2 decades, that man's been making Wolverine proud, and there's no other actor that I would want to be Wolverine. That is my Wolverine. He is my Logan. Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool, literally destined to be Deadpool, to play this character. No one else could play this character as well. Literally designed for him, for better or for worse. Greatness from the soundtrack. Phenomenal work of blowing up a song that was previously popular. Again, just revitalizing it. Said all this stuff in my previous video before. Again, I'm telling you right now, 5 stars. Another one of these great films I got to see in theaters that I highly appreciate. 5 stars. Now, the next film I'll talk about is Bad Boys Ride or Die. A great installment to this building franchise. Like, this film did not need to be made, but I appreciate this film so much. This film represents what happens when you have 2 actors that really did love the films that they made together, and you bringing in new directors to help extend upon what is already great. Now, like I said before, the third movie, not really that big of a fan of, but this film is building something great here, and I'm very interested what they do next in the franchise. Great editing, great camera work, great score, great writing, great comedic timing from Martin Lawrence and Will Smith. The interaction between these two are so great. Between these two and Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker, these are my favorite actor duos in these type of buddy cop situations. Like, this is great. Like, what more can I say? Ali and Bial, the directors, I think this time I feel like they knew the faults they did their first go around with the last film, and they hit the ground running with this film almost immediately. But just the opening sequence was already telling of what to expect in this film, and there's even some scenes where it's just like they did not have to put this transition in this film, but god damn it, you did. And I'm gonna give you so much credit for that. I applaud you for the work that you put in. Great cast all around. Just great stunts, great practical effects. Yeah, everything is what I wanted in this film. A great experience that I had. This is a 4.5-star film, and sticking to it, the place it has on the list can be moved. if I see something greater. But right now, his spot is being held. Now, the last film I'm going to be talking about from 2024 is Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. Now, this is directed by George Miller. And what I love so much about George Miller is I never seen a director so passionate about a film series like George Miller. Like, this is Mad Max is truly his baby, his creation, and what he's able to build upon in this franchise is so amazing, and it's definitely shown in Furiosa. Now, this is a prequel to his previous film, Mad Max Fury Road, and it's the story of Furiosa, of how she comes to be in her situation. Now, if you don't haven't seen Fury Road, what's already cool about Furiosa, she's a badass bald woman, and she got one arm, and one of them is mechanical. So it's like she's already amped up, and she was a complete badass in that film, and it's really her film in Fury Road. So why not just give her own standalone film and give us the backstory to a character that we're kind of getting attached to? Like, she's very epic, and Furiosa is just as epic. I do think Fury Road is better, but we'll get to that in a few. But I think Furiosa does a great job of introducing us to the lore of a character. That's what's always been cool about the Mad Max franchise. It's the small world building, the tales that we're getting of each characters or the scenarios that Max was in. Now, what's really cool about this film is the cast, and I got to give credit to not only Anaya Taylor-Joy as Furiosa in her like young adult teenage, well, yeah, young adult age, and she does an excellent job of being that. Does a of not being that. Not what I mean is she does an excellent job of playing this character, just like the previous actor who plays the present day version of Furiosa. She's given a lot of what leads to comes the main Furiosa that we know, and she did a great job of playing that role, and that goes along for Aaliyah Brown as well, who portrays Furiosa as a child and a teenager. Like, I want to know the process these actresses took when stepping into this role, because they all somehow fit together into what leads to them, what leads to the Furiosa that we know, right? And it's kind of like how, if you heard my review of Moonlight, it's kind of like that on a somewhat of a smaller scale, maybe grander because of what the world of Mad Max is, but on a smaller scale of how the director was able to find the perfect actors to play the child version, the teenage version, the adult version of the same character, and see them develop over time. This is one of those films that's so I so greatly appreciate for that. And these young actors did an excellent job. Hemsworth as Dementus. Chris had such a fun job with this role. I know he was just giddy the whole time, because Dementus has some layers, not many layers to his character. You could tell he's psychotic, diabolical, very tactical, but the monologue he gets at the end, superb, and I very much so appreciate this performance from Chris, as well as just the look of the character. And by far, well, it might be close, but in my head right now, the Mentis has the coolest ride in all of Mad Max history, all the Mad Max universe. It don't matter. This motherfucker got a chariot being drawn by motorcycles. Like, I ain't never seen something so cool. And that may be very simple to some, but like, if you've seen the look of the motherfucker, you understand why I would say this is the coolest ride in Mad Max. I'm gonna give credit to Tom Burks as Patreon Jack, who builds this relationship with Furiosa to help her develop the skills she needs to thrive on her own and be valuable to Immortan Joe, who is the leader of the Citadel, who controls everything and is the one that's going to be able to give her a lot more power. And because of Jack, he builds his relationship with her, and they try. There's some great interaction, great chemistry between the two, and I enjoyed seeing that on screen. The cinematography is great as always because George Miller really cares about his film. The sound design is still amazing. Just the sound of these cars, these vehicles revving, everything's just so crisp. And now this is the only film that I'm talking about today that I did not get to see in theaters, but even at home on the surround sound system that I got at my house, it was excellent. Like I had it turned up in here. Like I could have had the house shaking if it wasn't gonna cause so much of a ruckus. And it definitely could have. This film was so excellent. I want to give a shout out to the score from Junkie XL. Junkie XL is always great with creating great soundtracks and great sound scores for films. He did it for Fury Road, and he's back again for this, and just excellent. Just pure chaos in some aspects with this film. This film was just a fun watch for me to see. All in all, I'm giving this film 4.5 stars. I feel pretty strong about that. This film may beat out Bad Boys, I'm not sure, but right now it's number 5, and I feel pretty good about it. 4.5 stars. Now, I do want to say that I may have some built-in bias for the films that I have highly rated because I've got to see them in theaters, but I don't think that is the whole case because I did get the chance to rewatch Doom Part 2 before I got to watch the video before I did the video on it, and I watched it with my dad, and I had everything set up in the living in the space. Everything was just phenomenal, and even on the speakers that I have, I still felt very good about watching the film. It was just superb and excellent. Now, being in that theater in IMAX on that 90 millimeter film, I really did feel the sand hitting my eyes. I really felt like I was in the desert. I felt the spice. I thought I was getting, you know, I thought I was out of this. I got you. You know what I'm saying? Like that was phenomenal, and that goes for Bad Boys too. That was an excellent watch at a time that I got to enjoy watching with my brother and my mom in the theater. I got to see Deadpool and Wolverine with my brother as well, and I got to see Alien Romulus with some great friends of mine. So it's just like I got some strong connections. But that's not why they are highly rated. Initially, I might have some implicit by it, but I'm trying to be very objective. These films are so excellent, and I enjoyed myself. I think sometimes it doesn't really take a lot for a film to be highly rated to me. I think there's elements that come through that add to it, like Alien Romulus is a good film to get you into the Alien franchise. Yes, so there's Easter eggs throughout the film and some callbacks that if you're not familiar with the franchise, you're not going to understand. But it's still such a great entry point because it's such a well-made film, and that goes for all the movies in this list as well. Again, callbacks and watching previous callbacks being recognized by people that are fans of the previous films, it does help. It does help. But these films are such great. Just walk in, go see a movie, and if these are the options, you're gonna have a good time. Because I definitely enjoyed every single one of these. I think it's funny now that I'm thinking about it, and talking about it, that these are all sequels or continuations for the most part. Besides, no, all of them are continuations because Deadpool's third, Doom Part 2, Alien Romulus is technically a sequel to Alien in the timeline of the universe. Um, and then Bad Boys is number 4, and Furiosa is a prequel to a sequel of the Mad Max franchise. Yeah, so it's very interesting to see all these films be my favorite. But I have seen some standalone films this year, but some of them, maybe I'll do a list of my least favorite movies from this year, but that's neither here nor there. I probably gonna have to watch more movies. But with all that being said, I gotta ask, what are your thoughts of these films? Do you also have the same list in mind, or is it in a different order? What do you think about this year in 2024 for the films? What's your honorable mention that didn't make your list that probably should have been there because I have an honorable mention of, Godzilla, Kong, The New Empire. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed Monkey Man, and I enjoyed the Netflix film Shirley. These are just some films that I was tapped into. I still got a lot more to go because, films just drop like every other day and it's hard to keep a track, but I'm definitely doing my best. So there's a film that has dropped this year that you think I haven't checked out that I will like, or you just want to hear me talk about it. Please drop it in the comments below. This has been Rorvis Reviews. I am Rorvis Paradox, aka Docs Brando, and I'll see you again next time. Peace.